Brothers, if you have the technical devices from the library, turn them off, please. Brothers, please form your ranks.
ونستغفره ونتوب إليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. وبعد. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, all praise and all glory belong to Allah. Allah Ta'ala is Rabbul Alameen, Lord and Sustainer of the worlds. We praise Allah and we thank Him for all of His blessings. And the blessings of Allah are many and enormous. This is the reason why Allah asks us in the Quran a question. Surah Al-Rahman, which we read or recited just a little while ago, Allah Ta'ala asked the question, after counting, after reminding us of His favors upon us, His gifts to us, He asked us this question, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ? Which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? He started the surah out. The name of the surah is Ar-Rahman, the most compassionate. And Ar-Rahman is one of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that encompasses mercy in all of its manifestations. So when Allah says that He is Rahman, that means that His mercy runs so deep and is so wide and so enormous that it can encompass those who love Him as well as those who don't. Those who obey Him as well as those who don't. Allah Ta'ala's mercy transcends time and transcends realms. This is why many of the scholars say, Huwa Rahman ad-dunya wal-akhirah. Rahman for the kafir and the mu'min, the believer and the disbeliever. Rahman because His mercy encompasses this realm of existence as well as the realm to come. Any realm, Allah's mercy encompasses that realm because it runs very, very deep. And Allah asks us this question to call our attention to the fact that we have much to be grateful for. We have much to be grateful for. We have much to be grateful for. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the gift of the month of Ramadan, which we just completed. And alhamdulillah, we celebrated Eid. Right? And we see the beautiful manifestations of this celebration. But we must never forget that the purpose of the Eid is to have us breathe, not just a physical sigh of relief. Because if you're like me, you are happy that that cup of coffee that you've been jonesing for 29 or 30 days, around 10 o'clock, you can have that cup of coffee. You can breathe that physical sigh of relief. You can revisit. You can partake in the things that you willingly abstain from, because Allah Ta'ala compelled us or ordered us to do so, to abstain from those things which are normally permissible. And we did this willingly. And now we can breathe this sigh of relief. But we must understand that the other aspect of this relief is spiritual. And the spiritual side of relief shows up when I recognize, when I feel that I have spent myself in servitude to Allah in the best way that I could. I prayed as much as I could. I gave as much as I could. I fasted with consciousness. I read the Quran and I strove to dig deeper to understand. I looked within myself to look at what I need to modify and adjust about me to make me a better and more worthy servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you are that person, if you have spent yourself like this, then the sigh of relief that you feel deep inside of you is a spiritual sigh of relief. And so when we go, or we went to the Massambam earlier today, and Muslims across the world, what is the phrase of glorification that we chanted today? Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. This is a very powerful chant that captures the essence and the true meaning of the Eid, of this joyous occasion, because it's more than the clothes, and we should dress up. We should wear our best and look our best, right? We should look sharp, right, brothers and sisters, right? And we did. One thing that I enjoy about the Eid is everybody is so beautiful. The outside, we look great. right? Brothers break out the best kufi. You got a collection of kufis, and yeah, that one. That's the Eid kufi. Some of us bought the Eid kufi last year, right? You break out the Eid shoes. I counted today like 15 brothers that I shook hands with that had on gaiters. I said, man, alhamdulillah. They had on the thobe and gaiters. I'm not mad because that's a beautiful thing, right? The women, our sisters, you know, their best jewelry, however they choose to dress, right? Because it's a day where we display our gratitude and the blessings that Allah has gifted us, right? And the food, we get to eat again during the day, right? We get to drink water and juice when I want to, right? How many times during the month of Ramadan you felt that hunger pain, right? You were thirsty and you did not take a sip. May Allah reward you for that. You know why? Because Allah Ta'ala, the Prophet said, that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala said about the fast, كُلُّ عَمَلْ إِبْنِ آدَمَ لَهُ إِلَّا الصِّيَامِ فَإِنَّهُ لِي وَأَنَا أَجْزِي بِهِ. He said all of the actions, the ritual actions of worship, the reward of them, they benefit the son of Adam, the child of Adam. And what does that mean? That the regular deeds like the prayer and reading the Quran and giving charity and all of these things, ultimately this is transactional stuff. We have an expectation that when we go back to Allah, that we will find this stuff in our scale of good deeds. But the transaction with the fast is transformational. Because Allah made a special promise. He said that the fast is for me. That means that when you don't take that sip of water, you really mean it. You really want to please Allah. Because only Allah would know if you drank. Only Allah would know if you ate. And if you abstain from eating and drinking when no one was around except your Lord, then Allah Ta'ala will reward you for that, because it's an indication of sincerity and faith. And we pray to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala that we always have faith that runs deep like this, right? Because this is the faith that anchors us. This is the faith that gets us through the storm. This is the faith where we know that at the end of my struggle, and the metaphor here is I struggle with the hunger pangs. I got to make it to, what was iftar time? Around 8 o'clock, 8:30. 8:30. If I make it to 8 o'clock, I'm good. Right? And so a lot of us, that's what we did. I was hungry at 5. If I get to 8:30, I'm good. Then you have one date, one piece of fruit, one cup of water. Alhamdulillah. Right? Because this is what the fast is. This is the gift of the fast. That it makes us turn inward. It makes us turn and look inside of ourselves. Right? Where am I with my sincerity? Right? And so, important for us to understand, brothers and sisters, right? More than the clothes, more than the food, more than the celebration, more than the warm embraces that we share, because all of this is a beautiful manifestation of the external aspect of what it means for us to be a community of believers. But internally, Ramadan is where we train ourselves to now display the beauty of the fast. I'm sorry, the beauty of the faith, the internal beauty, the things like our discipline, things like our focus and dedication and determination and our sacrifice. Because all of these are the jewels. These are the spiritual values that anchor us. And Ramadan is like the incubator. I get to work on myself for 29 or 30 days. And Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has blessed us tremendously to live in our cultural context. Our Islam in our cultural context is a blessing from Allah. It is not a mistake. It is not an accident. It is not the result of any person or people, particularly in our case, coming through the hood, knocking on the door. Brother, do you want to be a Muslim? Sister, do you want to be a Muslim? Yes, there are individual cases like this. But collectively, the reality of our Islam is a tremendous gift of a miracle. It is the result of prayers of people who came before us. Our predecessors, our ancestors. And this is why we must pray for them. This is why we must honor them. This is why we must strive to walk their walk, to walk in their shoes, to walk the way that they walk. Because when they walked with faith. And their faith was so deep because they walked with sincerity. What does Allah say in Surah Al-Bayyinah? وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ. May Allah make us mukhlisin, right? Not this that you worship God, but you worship God with sincerity. Because that digs your feet in. That plants your feet firmly on the ground, in the ground. And you have spiritual roots. We have, in our cultural context, we have spiritual roots. And they run deep. They run deep. And if we pondered this for a second, and if we really understand, wallahi, we would fall on our knees. Our spiritual roots run deep. And Allah Ta'ala has blessed us in so many ways, beloved brothers and sisters, that I could go on and on. Right? We are the people. The Prophet ﷺ one time said to the companions, and I'm paraphrasing the hadith and I'm shortening the hadith, but he said, "Oh, I long for the day when I will meet my companions." Right? And the companion said, "Ya Rasulullah, we right here. Here we are." He said, "No, you guys are my companions. I'm talking about my companions to come." Now, if you situate yourself firmly in your faith, you will realize that when the Prophet ﷺ said he was longing to meet his future companions, he was talking about you. But see, you got to believe that. You got to believe that you have that connection. That when the Prophet ﷺ on the Day of Judgment calls for his ummah, he is calling for you. Because Allah called you and you answered. So when the Prophet calls for you on the Day of Resurrection, where's my ummah? Insha'Allah, your face will be in the place. Right? And who are we? Because we struggle so much with this, right? And one of the things, or another aspect of the ancestors is that, this sincerity meant for them that when they strove to live their Islam consciously, through conscious surrender, they did so with dignity. They did so with dignity. When I was on Hajj in 2006, there was a brother on Hajj with me. His name was Sunni Ali. Brother Sunni was from Chicago. And he was a city planner, African-American brother. And we were in Mecca and Medina together, and we had a great time. We bonded spiritually, right? Then we did the luxury part of the Hajj, the vacation touristy part. After we gave Allah his due, we went to Cairo. We stayed in a 5-star hotel. And I'll never forget, one day we were standing outside the hotel. And anybody who has been blessed to visit the so-called Muslim world, where all of the Muslims are, numerically, right? And the first thing that he noticed, because he's a city planner, he looked down and he could see that the plumbing system, the sewage system, was really horrible. So there was a lot of backups. Like there was feces in the street sometimes, part of the sewage. A pipe burst and take them weeks to figure it out and come fix it. Right? And he looked around and he said, wow, subhanAllah, this is deep. And he said, you know, Brother Imam, forgive me. I want to say something to you. He said, I know that we have a long way to go as African American people as it relates to the Arabic language. I said, yeah, we do. He said, we got a long way to go as it relates to learning the nuances and the aspects of the fiqh. I said, yeah, we do. He said, you know, we don't know the entire Quran yet. I said, yeah, most of us don't. He said, but I'm going to tell you something, Brother Imam. One thing that Allah has blessed our community with as a people is that when we take on this Islam, we take it on with a sense of dignity and self-respect that I see missing here. Why? Because Islam is supposed to produce the best. Now you walking down the street and you're seeing like life is hard, man. Harder than you got it. And some of us have hard lives. But it's relative. When you see another level, and you say, subhanAllah, yeah, I got it rough sometimes, but it's not like that. Right? And those words stuck with me. You know why? Because this internal manifestation is something that we struggle with. And may Allah help us with our struggles. And we struggle with it because oftentimes we begin this journey of Islam and we put on beautiful clothes. We buy beautiful kufis. We buy like really beautiful smelling oils, well, most of the time. Sometimes you get the oil man burning people's eyes. Like I'm allergic. Sometimes I be hugging brothers. Assalamu alaikum. Man. Right? But we invest so much in the external. And this is a good thing. Don't misunderstand me. Don't mishear what I'm saying to you. This is good. Fi dhalika khair. This is good. That we're making an investment to show that we're Muslim. But you know what the most important investment is? The most important investment that you and I must make is the investment in acting, behaving like a Muslim. You know why? Because the Prophet ﷺ has said it clearly. On the day of resurrection, and we all believe in the day of resurrection. We gave our brother Shahada here, right? Sunday, last Sunday, alhamdulillah, brother came, and the Imam Qais was reading Arkan al-Iman. And, you know, number 6, or number 5, وَنُؤْمِن بِالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. We profess this, and we believe in the day of reckoning. It's a part of our faith, our belief system. And what is the day of reckoning? وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا يَوْمُ الدِّينِ يَوْمَ لَا يَمْلِكُ نَفْسٌ لِنَفْسٍ شَيْئًا. On the day of reckoning, you don't have no possessions. You don't got the Rolex, the Cartier, the Panerai, the Gators, the $3,500 suit, the jewelry, the fat whip, the luxurious house, furnished, no jewelry, bruh, nothing. Why? Because your soul goes back to its maker. And so when your soul goes back to its maker, what do you go back with? What you invested in here. And so that spiritual investment is an investment in your soul. And this is where we struggle. But I'm here to tell you today, brothers and sisters, that if we think about the enormity of the blessing of Ramadan, we will realize that Allah gives us a gift that helps us, gives us a key. The 29 or 30 days of fasting are days of exploration, excavation, It's like we're digging out the jewels of our soul, because they're in there. We are all special. Why? Because Allah made us special. If Allah wanted to, He could have made us drones, clones. You like me, and I'm like you. Instead of unity, we would have uniformity. And we would all look the same. We would all think the same. We would all agree on the moon sighting. And this is just real human behavior. The companions disagreed about the direction of the Qibla. Even after the Prophet ﷺ said, even after the Quran was revealed, even after the Quran was revealed and Allah said, you know, فَوَلِّ وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ وَأَيْنَمَا تَكُونُوا فَوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ شَطْرًا. Whichever direction you face, you will find Allah there. Like ultimately the direction Allah is above and beyond that, He don't need that. Y'all need that. So don't fight about it. Even after Allah said that, because the companions were people. You know, some of them said, I didn't hear that. Oh, you were there? I wasn't there. Because human beings. And so we have to understand that we transcend some things, and the way that we transcend, we need to, is this spiritual engagement and this spiritual connection. And Allah gave us this gift during the month of Ramadan. And if you excavate it deeply enough, you will have discovered that you have the capacity to change. You have the capacity to believe in something different, something better. You have the capacity to have hope for yourself. You have the capacity. You have the capacity, right? We have it. It's there. You know how people say, oh man, I don't believe in change because nobody changes, right? This is a cynical, this is really a mentality of cynicism, right? Because with Allah, anything is possible. And this is not just an empty statement. This is a real statement. Because Allah says, وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. If you fear Allah, if you are conscious enough of Allah, He will make a way for you. He will open up a door for you. And sometimes, in fact, many times, that door is a door of understanding. A light comes on. And you say, man, this is what it's all about. You say, man, you know, it's not about the clothes. I got a suit on, my brother got a thobe on. We shouldn't be gritting on each other, man. Because you got a thobe on, your beard longer than my beard. I mean, think about that. I would shake your hand properly, but you don't got a kufi on, man. So I'm not going to give you no love because you don't have a kufi on. This is what Allah wants from us. Like if we think with your heart. No, Allah wants us to love each other. Allah wants you to love you first. And wallahi, this is why Islam is for a blessing for us. Because this is what we yearn for. I've been in rooms with hard brothers, like real tough guys, man, who understood this lesson, understood this reality, and cried like babies. A group of brothers crying, we didn't have to qualify it. We didn't have to say, yo, we cried the other day. No, I'm not soft. Because it wasn't about that. I knew you were a man, we men. But the realization that I have my soul, when I find my soul, and I connect to that, and Allah gave me that. Allah blessed me with that. Out of all of the people in the world, He gave it to you. Ibn Fulan, Bintu Fulan. Why did Allah give it to you? Allah tells the community of the believers, He فَضَّلَهُمْ عَلَى كَثِيرٍ. He preferred them over many others for a special spiritual station. So in our struggles with our issues of identity, who am I and why am I here? We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the clarity of the Quran. Allah tells you who you are, and He tells you why you're here. And all you got to do is get busy living that life. It's not easy. It's like the Prophet ﷺ told the companions about Sirat al-Mustaqim. He drew a line. He drew a line and he said what? هَذَا صِرَاطُ اللَّهِ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. Your spiritual journey is on that straight path. When you say اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, you're asking Allah for the path that the Prophet drew, metaphorically in the sand, a straight line. And then he said, he drew lines sprouting from that line. And he said, وَهَذِهِ طُرُقٌ, and these are other paths. وَعَلَى كُلِّ طَرِيقٍ شَيْطَانٍ يَدْعُو إِلَيْهِ, and at the head or the side of each path that leads away from Allah is a devil calling to it. Meaning an energy that's negative and dark that's calling you away from the light of Allah. And we live in those kind of days. But if we can connect to the simplicity and the clarity, and Ramadan helps us do that, we have won a major victory. So Allah, we ask you, Allah, to make us of the victorious ones. In the month of Ramadan, we prayed for 29 or 30 days. We fasted. We read the Quran. We've given charity. May Allah Ta'ala accept from us. And Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala continue to fill us with this positive energy that will propel us to spiritual heights. Because the outcome of being propelled to a spiritual height is not so you can float, right? It's so that you can do more. Do more works, but with more conviction, with more sincerity, with more clarity, and with more understanding. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of these things. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات في الدم استغفروه إنه هو الغفور. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد طيب الطائر الأمين وعلى آله وصحابته والتابعين له بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. So I want to say to everyone here today, Jazakumullah khairan, Allah reward you for coming to Jummah. Because you already heard the khutbah this morning. You already heard the khutbah. Now you're hearing the second khutbah. Right? But I pray that we are, can we move up some brothers? Move up please. We pray that Allah Ta'ala is inspiring us to do better. And I want to say to everybody, when you ask the question, well, what can I do differently? Right? How can I, I hear the imams talk about being better. How can I be better? Oftentimes we approach this question as a complex, difficult question to answer, and it's not. The investment in your spiritual well-being, your spiritual balancing, the anchoring of your faith in an authentic, sincere way begins with love. And everybody says this. But understand that you must begin with love. We must learn to love ourselves. We must learn to love ourselves. We must learn to love ourselves so that when you see me, you see you. And when I see you, I see me. And that's in the heart. But that's work. Right? Because right now, there's a lot of muckiness in there around this love thing. Right? But Allah tells us throughout the Quran that the trait of the believers, يُحِبُّهُمُ اللَّهُ وَيُحِبُّونَ, that they love Allah and Allah loves them. You can't love Allah if you don't love yourself. I want to repeat that. You cannot love Allah if you don't love yourself. Because how can you hate yourself and love Allah who made you? So this is a deep excavation. We may have to go to a place where we ask some questions that we might be afraid to answer about ourselves. Questions like, do I really believe that Allah loves me? And if I don't, why do I believe that Allah doesn't love me? How can I learn to believe that Allah loves me? Allah favored me. You know, I close with this. You know, don't sleep on these news accounts. I've been saying this now for 2 weeks. 2 suicides of celebrities that we know about. First of all, statistically in this country, people are killing themselves. Young people killing themselves. Young people. Like, think about how crazy that is. Like, when we knew that sometimes people killed themselves. But when people are killing themselves with a frequency, perhaps this is a sign that a lot of people don't think they have anything to live for. So if I'm 19, 20 years old, man, look, everything's corrupt. Everybody lying. Can't trust nobody. What for? But the celebrities get the attention. And when you read these profiles, these are people who have everything. The things that we covet, the good life. They got everything. But they're inside. And we don't know the particulars, but inside, that's an inside thing. In the heart. And Allah gave you something already. But you have to cherish it. And Allah bless us to cherish it.
Ameen.
Allah bless us to cherish it.
Ameen.
And Allah bless us to cherish it.
Ameen.
I pray, brothers and sisters, for you and your families, for our community, all of our community, but especially for our youth. Because it's hard for them. It's harder for them than it was for us. It's harder for them than it was for us. The way I came to that realization, I was having a conversation with one of my sons one time. We were having a little fun debate going back and forth, and he was telling me what I didn't know. And in this case, I didn't know, but he didn't know either. But he had the great equalizer. What was the great equalizer? His cell phone. He's like, Pop, hold up. See, I told you. That's the miracle of the modern age, that you have access to information quickly. But the pressing question is, what are we doing with the information once we get it? Are we using it now to invest in the embetterment of our souls? Are we just using it to one-up each other? I know something you don't. May Allah make it easier for our youth. May Allah make it easier for our youth. May Allah make it easier for our youth. May Allah keep our young people in Islam, in faith. A youth that prays one time a day is harder on Shaitan. Is a problem. You need to understand this. Because sometimes we want, oh man, pray. Yeah, you got to pray. But if a young person wants to pray, we should encourage them. Because when a young person wants to pray, Shaitan got a problem. Now you got to figure out, okay, how can I get this person to stop praying? And the avenues of that are many today. So I pray for our young people. I pray for our women. Because our women are our support and our backbone. Right? And brothers, we must embrace and love our women. Wallahi. You know why? Because a lot of people don't got love for us. Then they really don't got love for our women. We gotta love our women. We gotta love each other. That's why I'm saying it's love. Right? And then we have to love each other, brothers. Because you know what? We're not going to have no unity anywhere. We won't have unity in our house if there's no love. We won't have unity in our house. And y'all know I'm telling you the truth. So how are you going to have unity in a community? We're a community of believers who don't love each other. Even if we disagree, I don't have no malice towards you. I don't have no hate towards you. I might disagree with you. Right? And all of this is the work of the heart. And may Allah Ta'ala inspire us to do this work of the heart. Amen. So I'm going to close with that. And I have a wonderful, wonderful announcement. So our beloved brother Hassan, and we know which Hassan it is when you hear the last name. His nephew is here. His nephew wants to take Shahada. You see, you and me could break bread and enumerate all the problems that we got in the community. And each message you can go, we can talk about what we don't like and what's not good. But when I see this kind of stuff, it's a reminder for me that the work of Allah goes on in spite of all of us. Whether I like you or you like me, or this masjid like that masjid, or this group like that group, or whatever, right? Allah is, you know what it is? And there's this phenomenon, I got to say this. Like some people today, you see this thing when people are leaving Islam. Some of them are boasting about it. I used to be a Muslim. I used to do that stuff. That stuff don't make no sense. And Allah protect us from that. Amen. Okay? Allah really protect us from that. Amen. But some people, we have to understand, وَإِن تَتَوَلَّوْا يَسْتَبْدِلْ قَوْمًا غَيْرَكُمْ.
La ilaha illallah.
You know what Allah is saying in that verse? If I turn my back on Allah, I'm replaceable. No, because you don't need me. You don't need my ruku'. You don't need my sujood. You don't need my sadaqah. He don't need any of my good deeds. He does not need me. I need Allah. So if I turn my back in rejection, man, I'm out. What does Allah say? فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ? Where you going? Yeah, you out, but where you going? Because it is funny. We should laugh because we're silly like that sometimes. I got an attitude with God. I'm out. وَإِن تَتَوَلَّوْا يَسْتَبْدِلْ قَوْمًا غَيْرَكُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَكُونُوا أَمْثَالَكُمْ. And then the people that He replaces you with will not be like you. They will appreciate the gift. May Allah Ta'ala make us of those who appreciate the gift. So we have Brother Kareem here. So after Salah, I'm going to ask Imam Qais to come up. And we're going to give Brother Kareem the Shahada. And we are all witnesses. And then what we're going to do, because what we do in this masjid is that when people take Shahada, we ask them questions. Like, do you know what you're doing? Do you know what you're getting into? Do you understand the commitment that you're making? Right? And then after that, Imam Qais will go through it. We're going to turn Brother Kareem over to his uncle. And this is the best thing. This is the blessing. And his uncle will be responsible for his development. May Allah Ta'ala bless Kareem to grow and mature and evolve into a sincere believer. Ameen. Ameen. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا إنك جامع الناس ليوم لا ريب فيه إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. عيد مبارك. السلام عليكم.